Jeremiah is saying, can you do a quick catch up? And is it expanding surveillance powers, or is it the same as it was before? What's new or what's different?
It's expanding it in the sense that a lot of the practices that were currently going on were not codified into law and had become controversial practices that the FBI was engaging in doing warrantless searches, but they were not legal. And so what this law does is it specifically legalizes these things that critics have been saying are completely illegal. And so in some senses it doesn't change what's going to be done, but it makes it legal. In this sense, it does change what's going to be done, because once you move the line of what's legal, then agents go across that line and carry it further. And then 6 years from now, or even maybe earlier, because it's a 6-year renewal, maybe earlier, they'll come back and say, well, now we're doing X, Y, and Z, and these critics are saying that that's not constitutional, so let's go ahead and put that in the law too, since we're already doing it. And it's so important because look at these people that we've thrown in prison, and look at these plots that we've unspooled. So it just creeps further and further and further, and then everything that they're doing becomes legalized.
John Borg says, welcome to dystopia. Susan Ostling says, does anyone feel the stormtrooper boot on their neck? And Kevin Carter says, how do these Democrats justify their votes?
They justify it by believing that it's the easier political vote to vote yes on this stuff, and rather than be hit with a campaign ad that says that so-and-so congressman wants to tie the hands of law enforcement when going after radical jihadists, or however they want to phrase it. It comes down to that. A lot of it is kind of lingering fears that a lot of these politicians have from the years immediately after 2001. And if you didn't experience those politically, it's hard to kind of get in touch with that fear that they had. So many members of Congress losing their jobs over this war on terror, or, soft on the war on terror, that sort of thing. So a lot of it is just fear, and fear is what drives these policies that push us further and further toward this surveillance and national security state.
I wonder if people are thinking, well, Trump doesn't really have a very firm grip on the whatever.
Well, today he tweeted against the bill.
Right. But then he changed his mind.
He didn't change, yeah. And you could tell, though, that the second tweet wasn't written by him, because all the capitalization was right. Oh. The spelling was correct. So here's Trump. House votes on controversial FISA Act today. Act in all caps. So there's your first capitalization error. So clearly he's watching TV. Something about this bill came up.
If a conversation innocently picked up by domestic spies reveals a criminal act.
Unrelated to terrorism.
Correct. Totally unrelated to terrorism. That information can be used in the prosecution of the crime.
It was the FISA and essentially this whole program that got Donald Trump in trouble with the Russian stuff.
This is the act that may have been used with the help of the discredited and phony dossier, capital D, to so badly surveil and abuse the Trump campaign, both capitalized, by the previous administration and others, question mark. Then he comes back later with all of his capitalization and punctuation fixed and says, with that being said, I have personally directed the fix to the unmasking process. Can you imagine Donald Trump saying the unmasking process? No, you cannot. Since taking office, that's not even a phrase that he uses, since taking office. He would say something like, since I beat crooked Hillary. And today's vote is about foreign surveillance of foreign bad guys on foreign land. There's somebody trying to pretend that they are Trump and not doing a very good job of it. Oh, he's going to throw in foreign all the time, and that'll make it work. Then he says, we need it, exclamation point, get smart, exclamation point. Lame attempts to try to mimic Trump. And the lack of mistakes is the biggest giveaway.
I just want to clarify. I was going to say Trump doesn't really have a grip on the national security apparatus. In other words, he doesn't control it. Like, he would like to, he sometimes tries to, but he doesn't. And so I wasn't saying he doesn't have a grip on his mental faculties or anything like that. I was just saying he doesn't. I think that perhaps Democrats feel like empowering the surveillance apparatus is not empowering Trump. They feel like it might even be empowering a national security community that is in many ways at odds with Trump.
Right, enemy of my enemy is my friend. That certainly could be the reasoning going through the heads of some of these Democrats, that the alliance with the so-called deep state may be tightening.
Jody Albert on Politics is saying so much for the Fourth Amendment. What do you think?
I mean, it's still there on the books, but yes, it's been chipped away at and chipped away at, and we're at a place now where FBI agents, if this passes, have legal ways to sift through all of this extremely personal data and do with it as they think they can get away with.